Okay, guys, so here's the question we wanted to get a video on. So let's have a look at this. My first issue is let's get my pen, is u n plus 1. Okay, now if I look at the value of un, then the limits will go up by 1. So n plus 1, n plus 2 rather, pi, n plus 1 pi. But it's still sine t over t dt. Okay, so the plan is to replace this with t equals t minus pi. First thing to note is that dt will equal dt. Now consider the limits. So if t is n plus 2 pi, then big T will be n plus or n pi plus 2 pi minus pi, which is n plus 1 pi. And the other limit will be, so that's the upper limit, the lower limit will be 1 less than n plus 1 pi, or pi less, which will just be n pi. So the good news is, sorry, my equal signs are really ugly. The good news is that the integral, the limits of the integral, have changed to n plus 1 pi over n pi. And instead of being d small t, it's d big T. Now, the question then is, what about sine t? Well, now sine t will be sine of big T plus pi, which equals negative sine of big T. If you think about it, if you're in a cast diagram, add on pi, you end up with the other quadrant. So the positives go negative and so on and so forth. So we basically got negative sine of big T over small t, which is t plus pi. Now, if you think about it, this means that un plus 1, or at least the absolute value of un plus 1, will equal, now we can forget the signs, n plus 1 pi over n pi sine of big T over t plus pi dt, and that is less than the absolute value of n plus 1 pi n pi over sine. Now it doesn't really matter if it's big T or small t, because at the end of it, they're just variables within the integral. They're not actually the issue. So what really is the issue is that t plus pi, as it goes between these two values of n pi and n plus 1 pi, is less than, or is bigger rather than t. So overall, it equals, it's less than. So that means we've shown that un plus 1 is less than un. And I'll stop the video there, and we'll do part 2 in a minute. Okay?